Hiya, I'm a real beauty and I've started doing makeup tutorials and videos for myself for a bit of fun because I really wanted to teach people like me who've got uneven skin tone, bags under their eyes and wrinkles as well, how to do some of those cheats and tricks and little silly things that all the makeup artists can do that we really don't understand. And I thought I'd show you what I do, what I've practiced, things not to do as well. Now, I really like beauty blenders more so than using brushes. I used to use, well, when I started, I used my hands and, literally pour it into your hands. That was how I started doing foundation in the 90s. And then I went to a foundation brush. Where is it? I'd show you what it looks like. This one. And it's really good for kind of painting it on, but to get the most even and consistent and easy to replicate thing, a beauty blender is definitely the way to go. You want it slightly damp, but not so damp that it's like actually wringing wet in your hands. So you just run it under the tap, squeeze it twice, and then roll it in your towel. And it will give you a much easier look, much quicker, and you can replicate it all the time. Yeah, okay. The other thing you want to do with beauty blenders is you want to put the foundation on your hand or on a mirror or on a plate or something like that. You do not want to pour drips down your face because as soon as you pour a drip down your face, you have to blend that out and it takes forever. The reason why all those stupid tutorials online cut every 20 seconds to another shot is because they're cutting out the 10 minutes it took them to blend the drip out of their cheek. Like, don't do it. It's ridiculous. Put it on your hand. You use half as much product as well. You get your beauty blender, and here's the trick. You've got to pick up a little bit, and then you dab it on your hand in another spot. And you pick up a little bit more, and then you go in, and you just kind of bash your face with it. Feels like a little bit of a face massage. That's honestly what you need to do. Pick up a little bit, tap it on your hand, and then go to the next spot. This is how you get that much more consistent look, much more even, and it is the quickest because you're not trying to blend out giant globs of foundation. And I just use that exact same spot and just keep going over it, and it just gets a little bit more on my beauty blender every single time. It really doesn't matter. Beauty blenders I found are actually pretty much all the same. It doesn't matter what brand you use, doesn't matter if it's a cheap one or an expensive one, they're really all kind of the same. They all kind of last just as long as each other. Definitely need to clean them after every use. The longer you leave product stuck in your beauty blender, the harder it is to clean out, and the quicker you will shorten the life of it, and it'll die. I've had a couple that are stained now because like those days when you're in a real rush and you're like, nope, not cleaning it before I leave the house, it's just staying on the bench. And of course it's always that day that you end up like everything goes wrong. Oh, last one had a flat tire for me. And so when I get home, I don't really want to go back into the bathroom and clean all my tools. So it sat on the table until the next day. And then, yeah, I think it was 2 days later in the afternoon that I actually cleaned it. It was pretty gross by then. And so it's got this massive stain in it that just will not come out now. And now that I've tried to use it like 3 times, I think then, or maybe it's only 2. The last time I picked it up, I noticed it was actually cracking, like from, where that stain is. It's because the product and the blender cleaner stuff has just kind of sat in there and slowly made it lose its whatever sponginess. What are they made out of? I guess it's a sponge. It's a sponge of sorts. Okay, after that random tangent, some things you need to know about doing your foundation. Go up over to your ears, go down your neck. Really important to go down your neck. You do not want to look like a 13-year-old girl who's stolen her first thing of foundation and has put the line on their cheek. Do you remember doing that? Do you remember? It's all the kids in the 90s when I was growing up. All the girls, half of them had stolen the bloody foundation as well, so they all had the wrong colour, but everyone put it on their face and you just had this orange line around here. Up here as well, nobody went to their ears, it was like right here. So yeah, you never wanted a photo taken of you that wasn't straight on. Thankfully, I hated it at the time. My mum wouldn't let me wear foundation all the time. She wouldn't let me wear makeup to school and stuff. I hated her at the time. But yeah, I now look back on it and go, wow, there are so many photos of my friends where they look like pumpkins and I look normal. Anyway, another tangent. I'm really good at tangents. One thing you might have seen me doing when I was doing my neck was just kind of wiping it down. This is because, well, partly out of laziness, but on your neck, you just kind of need to blend a little bit in so it matches. Just like this on your face feels lovely. If you do this particularly, and there are parts on your necks, it actually hurts. So, or it's uncomfortable. This is so much nicer. Oh, neck massage. Blend it all in. Yeah. I think I've blended everywhere else. Okay, concealer. Age gracefully, but still wear concealer. Okay, so I know the trend is to do a tiny bit here and a tiny bit here. It doesn't work when you have wrinkles and grey bags under your eyes. People with grey bags under their eyes, they really, really do have to do all of it. And I find doing 2 layers is the best. So I put 1 layer on, blend that in, let it set and dry, and then I put another layer on. I just turn over my beauty blender and use the other side so that I can use the tip to get into that eye socket. And so my first layer is basically trying to get rid of that, what is a permanent grey bag under my eye. That is permanent now. I wake up with that every day, no matter what. It does not go away. And if I look down, it looks really terrible. So for Halloween, I think I'll go as a skeleton and just not put any foundation on at all and go. Sorry, I found that really funny. I laugh at myself. I think I'm funny. Okay, the other thing I like to do at this stage is try and even up any fall of eyeshadow under my eyes. So from that wiping, I can see that I've made this eye kind of like that, but this eye, I'll use my fingers instead. So that one goes upwards, this one kind of goes outwards. So now I have to try and even that up. And again, this comes back to the fact that all of our faces are different. We are not symmetrical. Our brow bones are in the road. They end at different points. Our eyebrows end at different points, no matter how hard you try. So this is the time that doing a little bit of a wipe helps, because you want to wipe off that excess eyeshadow. Getting there, look straight on, put your fingers there. For somebody with wrinkles, that you don't do it like this. So if I do this, it kind of looks right, but then when I put my eyes down and relax it, it doesn't, because again, for some reason, the wrinkles on this eye, and when I raise my eyebrows, there is more movement here on this side than this side. Took me years to figure that one out, years. You want to look at a mirror that's further away to make sure you can see if it's right. I think that is much better now. That also, in the time that's taken me to figure that out, that's kind of set that first layer of concealer. Yeah, it doesn't feel really wet and tacky anymore. So now that we've kind of hidden the grey a little bit, I always said put like red lipstick on it. It doesn't work, Mum. I just spend like an hour trying to stop the fact that my eyes now look red instead of grey. Anyway, now that we've done that bit of grey, now we can try and be a bit more strategic, and we want to put a bit down here that will blend down our cheek, and a tiny bit more over here to try and give us a bit of a lift, number one, and make sure that there isn't that really odd line between, oh, here's our eyes and our concealer, and here's our cheeks and our foundation. So again, we kind of want to blend down and across, and just in that little section, just there. So you don't want it to be more than like a centimetre, and it just kind of helps elongate your eyes a little bit and helps highlight your beautiful eyes and bring out that eyeshadow as well. We'll do some eyeliner later as well to make it look really nice. So now that grey circle is starting to really go, and it kind of is blending in. Sometimes you're like, oh, do I need to put in a third layer of concealer today? Because some days I do. I think I'll leave it. I think it's good enough because now when we add some powder, it's really going to then start to blur itself in. My trusty powder brush that I absolutely love, that's like so soft on your face. You've got to have a favourite powder brush, seriously. You've got to have a big floofy one that's been used so much it's completely stained now, no matter how much I clean it. It's so soft and its bristles don't fall out. How do you pronounce it? Zoeva? Z-O-E-V-A? I don't know, Sephora had a massive sale on post-Christmas, well, they do it every year, and had some really good brush packs. That's when I actually stock up on brushes now. As soon as there is a sale, Black Friday sale, Boxing Day sales, mid-year sale, Easter sale. Those are the 4 big ones. Probably Black Friday and Boxing Day are the 2 biggest, I'd say. Anyway, now you might think that this foundation is a little bit pale for me. It is a tiny bit, tiny bit. Depending on which light I'm in, it actually looks paler or darker. So, or like not darker, the same as my skin tone. But the next shade deeper was too much. But grab a bit of bronzer, and what we're going to do is kind of do a 3. So you come up here, down there, and down around our chin. And I like to do a bit of extra here. It just is the way my skin tone is, because I do have these natural browner patches here. So if I don't put enough down here, then the brown that's on my cheekbone makes, I don't know, it doesn't blend in really. So it's about trying to blend that and working with the weird shades on my face to kind of blend everything in. If I wanted to spend an hour working on my foundation, I could, and I could use a whole heap of foundation, a whole heap of concealer, and have a full matte finish. And I can get rid of those blotchy spot places. Like this blotch up here is higher, but then I 100% look like I am wearing makeup. Not like, it's not like I'm going for the no makeup look. That doesn't work for me, but it looks like I'm going to a photo shoot kind of makeup, like that thick, that when it comes to taking it off, you've got to wash your face 4 times. Anyway, let's do some blush. I like blush. Now I've got kind of an ovalish face, and I've got a little kind of a bit of a triangle chin. If you have got a round face, if you've got a square jaw, you need to be really careful of where you put your blush. If you look like a supermodel, go crazy, do whatever the hell you like. For me, when I smile, I get these really big rosy cheeks, but naturally I kind of have resting bitch face. That is my general state of affair, is resting bitch face. So for me, I do need to bring blush quite far down and quite up, and I need to use paler colors with a shimmer, pinks, slightly purpley tones. This one looks really dark, but it goes on really, really lightly. That is good. If I go any kind of burgundy tones or deeper tones, I look like I'm straight out of the 80s, and I'm like, yeah, should have crimped hair, and yeah. So I have to be careful with that too. I can't use too darker shades, but I need to bring it down lower to try and brighten up and get rid of a bit of that resting bitch face. I also really like blush. It's probably growing up in the 80s. Like I've got to do a little bit on the nose and a little bit on the chin. Like I can't. If I'm in a hurry and I don't do it, I hesitate before I leave. I'm like, I need to go back and put blush on my nose. I just have to. It's barely perceptible, but I have to do it. Anyway, I feel like my mum will just magically appear and go, you don't look like you got your blush printed everywhere. Yes, Mum, I didn't put it on my nose today. It's only a little bit, but you got to do it. But you see, as soon as I've added that bit of colour, it brightens up my face a bit. Like, I know it's a bit hard to see. The one thing about doing movies I found is the translation onto the camera, onto the film on your phone, it's really different. So for me, to show you this, I do need to add more, and it looks a lot brighter in person than it does on video. I would suggest you not add this extra layer that I'm doing right now, that I'm trying to see how it brightens up a little bit. See how now this dark patch that was up here is kind of all blended in with the blush. It looks nicer. The other thing that's good is gotta love any kind of highlighter. Now again, to translate it onto film, I need to remove the cat fur off the brush. Everything in my house has cat fur, everything. I try not to, it's on everything. Anyway, I'm going to use a lot more than I would just because on video, to get it to show up, you need to do a lot more. Even because I'm not using stupid filters, it's actually even harder for you to see. If I was to use one of those crazy light filters that do the little twinkles and that, then you would see it much more. Now I'm just doing it on the upper part of my cheekbone. That also helps blur out that patch of brown here. Tiny little bit on your upper lip helps as well, just that little bit of the cupid's bow. If you want to, you can do the little bit on the inside corner of your eyes. Be careful not to miss and touch your nose. If you want to, you can do on your brow bone as well. And the other thing we need to do is a lippy. What colour lippy do I want today? This one should be a bit better. There we go, that's much nicer. Righto, I'm going to leave that video here, and that's the end of that one. That's how you do your base. That's how you blend in your neck. Did I put powder on my neck? That feels like it's not set. No, I mustn't have. Goodness me. Is that when I was ranting about the 80s and 80s cheeks? Is that why I forgot? Oh, snorting. I snort when I'm laughing at myself and I'm having a good time. That's funny. Hope you got a few tips out of doing the base, the concealer, powder, bronzer, and blush and highlighter. Gotta have some highlighter. Cool. Bye.